If you've sold long enough on this platform, you know as well as I do that you're going to come across a bad buyer or two. Well, in this video, I've got a couple examples of just that. Some scammers, some people who are trying to fish for partial refunds. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy, and as I mentioned in the title, I certainly think there's a number of buyers out there on eBay who just don't know how it works. And we're going to talk to you about a couple examples of that. And you know, it may be a situation where these buyers don't know how it works, or they certainly do know how it works and they're just playing it off as if they don't, and they're trying to get something out of you, the seller. Biscuit Butt came over and we hung out for a bit, and he told me about this situation. And this particular situation involved a buyer who bought a couple of the Zero water filters from him. Now, they weren't the Zero Water brand. They were the third-party brands that you can maybe get on Amazon and other locations. But these were brand new filters. They were still sealed in the foil pouch inside the retail box, and it was a 2-pack that this person bought, and I don't think it was for anything more than about 20 bucks for the pair. He shipped it out on time, everything was good, and then he gets this message from the buyer. I bought the 2-pack. The first one came wrapped in the box that it should be, but there is no blue cap to take off. The first time I filled my Zero Water pitcher, it was very dark, and I knew I had to fill it one time to clean it out, but on the second reading it was 168. Wow. Then after that, I dumped that out. The third fill-up reading was 124, fourth was 114, fifth was 109. Right now I'm going to open the second filter to see if that's any better. I'm very disappointed with these filters so far. I will write again if the second one is any better, or it's like the other one. This sucks big time. Now, real quick, if you guys know anything about these filters, you can't just run one cup or one pitcher. You got to do multiples to get there's the carbon that comes through the filter into the water. So it takes like 3 or 4 cycles where you just take and fill the pitcher and dump it out, right? Until that soot goes away. Well, this guy was starting to take readings like on the second and third pitcher, and it's like, that's not how that works either. So Archie was out and about, didn't really get a chance to respond to the first message, and the buyer quickly sent another one. And of course, he's long-winded, so I apologize. Well, as you can see by my first message, the first filter did nothing with very high reads. So as I mentioned in my first message, if the first one did not work, it's going to try the second one, another piece of crap. First fill-up was dumped to clean out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to bother you with all the readings. I want a complete refund and 2 new filters that work on your dime. Go to Zero Water and get me 2 of those. If not, I'm a long-time customer here on eBay, and they knew who I am. I think that's really ridiculous, but you know, it makes you wonder how they know who you are as a customer. But okay, if you do not take care of me quickly, I will take care of you big time. I will hold off for a bit before I leave any form of testimony. You know, he doesn't want to use the word feedback because I guess he knows that we can call in and say, hey, this guy's using extortion. But the fact that he used the terminology testimony kind of tells me he knows what he's doing, even though it reads like the buyer just doesn't understand how eBay works, right? So he continues, I hate not having filter water, and you left me hanging with the fraud of a filter that has labels stating that they were auction item. Geez, I wonder why. Now, I do know from conversations with Archie, he goes to a local auction site that they auction these, and a lot of them are still new in the package. These are new sealed in the foil, okay? So it wasn't like he sold an item that was an open box item. The buyer, you know, returned it after opening it and trying it out. No, these are brand new filters. So, you know, this guy is kind of taking bits and pieces from what Archie wrote in his listing to try to use it against him, at least throw it in his face. And I kind of find that funny. So Archie gets home from running errands. He checks his eBay, finds these 2 messages, and here's how he replies back. Sorry to hear they're not working. Put in a refund request, and once I verify they're the same filters I sent, I will refund. And what buyers will do is they will take this filter. So they'll buy your new filter, they'll put it in their system, take this old nasty filter that they have, and they'll send it back to you, and it doesn't match, right? So that's what a lot of these buyers do. Not sure what this buyer had planned, but it certainly is something that crosses our minds as sellers sometimes. So Archie leaves it at that, and about a day later he gets a message from the buyer. Well, still waiting on you. Your product did not have a blue cap on each of the filters. Your product did not have a blue gasket to prevent leakage. Again, that could be just a zero water filter type thing. You're buying a third party brand that may not have a blue gasket either. I want my refund now. Are you going to keep your word? I cannot find the refund tab anywhere on your forms or receipts. I took snapshots of your 2 filters and the actual reading after filling up my pictures, 2 of them 8 times, and the readings speak for themselves. Once you viewed my attached snapshots, it's your move. If I don't hear from you or see my money refund, I will be reporting you to eBay executives. So this guy's got a number directly to the executives. That's really impressive because they know who he is, right? So Archie gets the message and he replies simply, call eBay. They can help you. Until I get the product back, I will not return and I will have no further communication. And I'm sure he meant I will not refund. And I will have no further communication with you because you are beyond rude. This buyer was a little pushy and abrasive, I would say. And, you know, I don't know what you guys think, but I think this buyer was quite out of line. And he does respond back to Archie and he says, I'm beyond rude. You sent me not 1 but 2 pieces of trash. Read my complaint again. I sent you actual photos for your review and you're telling me you have to see them. And by the way, you notice this is in all caps. The guy's like yelling at Archie, like screaming at him. Are you Archie of Las Vegas as seen in your shipping label attached? So there's no reason to send them back. They are garbage. I proved you what you sent me. You want these back, then you got to send me shipping label in order to ship it back to you. I will not ship them back on my dime. You already scammed me out of $20.41. See attached. I'm a solid customer here at eBay and always had a great relationship with many sellers from all over the world, but for some reason, you do not like to reply in a timely manner and answer customers' questions. That's why my tone is tough. I hate being tricked or scammed. This guy's tone was tough and abrasive from the beginning. And he didn't allow Archie to respond to his first message. He had to, within minutes, fire another long-winded message, as I read to you. And, you know, I got to say, this guy's 100 feedback. You see his username. Up to you on what you want to do based on what you see here. I'm calling it a block party because, honestly, I don't want to deal with a buyer like this. I already blocked this guy. There's just no place on eBay for rudeness like that. And I think it's rude to talk in all caps, to try to push your weight around, try to make sellers think that you have more clout than you actually do. And for anyone to try to use, like, I know executives, you know, maybe you do. You have 100 feedback. Maybe you do know executives. But that's not how eBay works. And that's not how you treat sellers. You want respect. You want to be handled in a courteous manner. You got to start. You know what? Sometimes mistakes are made. In this case, I don't think Archie made a mistake. I think he got exactly what he ordered. The ad didn't say these were actual, genuine zero water filters. These are third-party knockoff brands. The guy was trying to save some money, and maybe it's not exactly the quality he expected because it wasn't the zero water brand. That's on him. He needs to do his due diligence. Archie only delivered the new product as he advertised. And I think Archie, you know, was to the point, hey, if you're not happy, open a return. This guy seems to have a lot of successful transactions on eBay. He should be able to know where the refund button is, I think. What do you guys think? Comment down below. So here comes my example of a buyer who I think knows the system, has done this to other sellers before, but wants to play it off like they just don't know how eBay works. And it could be this guy just doesn't know how eBay works. And as you guys saw in a video that I posted about 2 weeks ago, the last liquidation lot that I pulled a lot of good stuff. I pulled a couple of those Samsung hard drives, those NVMe M2 hard drives. Those are the newer technology. Those go right under your motherboard on your computer. I'm not going to tech all you guys out with like all these phrases, but it's just a hard drive you put in your computer. And I had a brand new one that I sold for like 110 bucks. It was a Samsung 980 was the model. This one I had with that one. This one was an open box where the box was open, but the drive was new. And for whatever reason, I knew it was different, but for whatever reason, I left the title of 980 on there. This one was a 970 EVO Plus. Now, as you can see here, I'm just going to show you the tech specifications because actually the second drive, the 97 EVO Plus, has a higher benchmark and a higher speed. It's just a better drive, a little bit better. I mean, not out of the world better. It's just a little bit better drive. So I sell this. It says in the title 980, but it's really a 970 EVO Plus. It's a better drive. I have it priced at $89.99 plus shipping because it's an open box. It's not brand new. Otherwise, I think I would have priced it about $110 like I did the other one. If you check on Amazon, both drives sell for the same price. The buyer buys my item. And by the way, I'm blocking the identity of the buyer only because there's some trolls out there watching right now who will contact this buyer and state that I'm putting all of his information out there. And frankly, I don't want to deal with a negative feedback. So because you guys know what my store is, I'm not going to have a block party with this guy just yet. So I sold this drive to this buyer with 14 feedback, okay? And as soon as I shipped this thing out, I mean, no more than 30 minutes after this thing was picked up by my carrier, I get this message from the buyer. I just noticed it's as advertised as a 980 and pick of product shows 970. What's going on? So I replied back, and I don't have the screenshot of my reply, but I replied back. I said, looks like I made a mistake. The 970 Evo Plus is the actual item that's been sent to you. Here's a screenshot of some specs like the one I showed you. The 970 is a better drive. It's a faster drive, and performance wise, it'll definitely meet and exceed the 980. So he replied back to me stating, if it's not a 980, I believe a partial refund is in order for false advertising. So he's already fishing for a partial refund. I replied back and I told him, I said, this item is as good, if not better, than the drive that was listed in the title. I'll be happy, extremely happy, to pay for a return label and to have you send the item back. And again, I apologize. However, I don't see how by me sending you a better item, it's warranted for a partial refund. And plus, we don't do partial refunds unless the situation really warrants it. And I didn't tell him this, but the situation didn't warrant it. So a few days go by and the item arrives to the destination, and he sends me another message stating, this is not a 980, false ad, I don't have time for this. I thought we cleared this up on the first two back and forth messages. We've already acknowledged it's not a 980, but he's already back at trying to get something out of me. I said, it shows that you received the 970 Evo Plus instead of which is the better, more expensive drive than the 980. See the attached screenshots for proof. However, if you're not happy, please open a return and I'll gladly accept a return on this drive. And I already had told him that, but you know what? I'll tell it to him again. He replied back, I don't have time to return, wait for refund, and wait for another drive. I believe a partial refund is in order. You promised a 980. The 980 cost $149. Now, I immediately went on to Amazon. Both drives run at like $109 on Amazon, both marked down on sale. If you recall the benchmark information that I shared with you guys, the 970 EVO Plus is just a better drive. So again, I replied back, please open a return and we will pay for a return label at no cost to you. If you take time to look at the screenshots, the 970 EVO Plus is the faster drive. Per eBay policy, if you're not happy with your purchase, you have the right to request a return. You do not have the right to ask for a partial refund. And at this point, I'll be contacting eBay to inform them what is happening here. Now, at this time, before writing this reply, I went in to see who am I dealing with. I checked the buyer, checked the feedback left for others. They haven't left one feedback, not a positive, not a negative. So it told me in my mind that this guy's bought 14 items off of eBay, but he doesn't quite know how it works. He may know how the shakedown routine kind of works to give the seller some heat, but in my mind, if he knows how to ask for partial refunds, yet he hasn't left a single feedback, it was time for me to kind of go on the offensive and to basically call him out on his bluff. I was willing to take a return, simple and plain. So he comes back to me with another message. We're talking a $55 difference as per Amazon, which I researched new, even though that's not the case. They're the same price. I thought it was getting a blessing, but being how now you're stating you're going to highly scrutinize the pack, unknowing it sometimes happened during shipping process, I have not resort but to keep it because something tells me to take 50% speed loss, but I know I'm very unsatisfied. Again, I never told him I was going to scrutinize anything. I just told him to simply return the item, and my philosophy has always been the same thing. If it's the same item that I shipped to you, we're talking a very small, light item, I bubble wrapped the heck out of it. It arrived to him just perfectly. There's no reason why he couldn't do the same to return it. Now it seems like he's trying to fish for $55 back, which ain't happening here. So my last reply was sort of long-winded because I basically knew, I had an idea who I was dealing with. This guy doesn't know how eBay works. And I just kind of stood my ground here. And I said, if I had advertised the 970 EVO Plus and sent you the slower 980 drive, then I can certainly understand your frustration. In this case, you are benefiting from my error. Your hard drive transfer speeds are going to be faster with the drive I sent than if I sent you a 980 drive. I honestly do not know what you're trying to achieve other than to shake me down for a partial refund, which is against eBay rules. You are now stating you should get $55 back for some reason when we sold it to you for $85.49 plus $7.99 shipping. What you're even suggesting is unreasonable. So now, one thing to keep in mind, at this point, because I had asked him to open a return, he actually opened a return, and I was expecting him to send it back, and I was happy to take the return. But, of course, he came back wanting $55. I finished off by saying, I expect you to either close the return or to return the item using the label that has been provided. If you're saying that you will now be keeping the item, please close the return so that I can cancel the return label. Otherwise, I will need to reach out to eBay to report this transaction. I've been very respectful thus far. However, I don't understand how you got more than what you paid for by getting a better item, and you're asking for so much money back. Just not right, and it is against eBay policy to do so. I look forward to you closing the return if you're now deciding to keep this drive. Thank you and enjoy the speed upgrade this drive is going to give you. By the way, I have supplied you with proof via screenshots for everything I've told you in these messages, and I've been 100% honest with you the entire time. So guess what happens 2 minutes later? He closes the return. So I was right. My assessment was this guy didn't know how eBay worked. He was trying to fish for $55, or I'm sure he was waiting for me to come back with a lower amount that he would have accepted. But you know what? For me, we make mistakes. In this business, it's impossible to not make a mistake here and there. And if you got your game down to where you're 100% mistake proof, then maybe eBay is not something you should be doing. You should be running like the government or something. Because I got to tell you, people make mistakes all the time, and I'm not going to sit up here in front of you guys flashing a fancy car, saying how perfect I am. It don't work that way. I make mistakes just like you. And you know what? I don't mind replying back and forth with my buyer to make sure they understand where I'm coming from, provide them as much proof via screenshot or whatever they need to convince them. I'm not trying to scam anyone here. But at the same time, if I send you a better item than what the title states, and yeah, you have a right to hold me to that. I offered to accept the return, pay for the return label, happy to take it back. And then the buyer starts playing games with me saying, well, if the item doesn't get back to you in the same condition, kind of tells me that they do know that the seller can deduct whatever they need to if the item doesn't come back in the correct condition. So does this buyer know what he's doing? I think he kind of does. I think maybe he's done this a few times before in the 14 transactions that he's dealt with on eBay. But I don't think he's yet encountered someone like me that is going to take the time to look at the buyer, the feedback they've left for others, and then to call him on his bluff to tell him, hey, this is what I'm willing to do. This is not what I'm willing to do. Partial refunds, and it's up to you on what you want to do. And by the way, if you're going to open that return case, please send it back. Otherwise, you need to close the return. Otherwise, I'm going to get eBay involved in this, because as it is, he was already trying to shake me down, and he gave me an exact number. That's something you can't do on eBay. You can't ask for a partial refund and say, here's what I want, because, and just like in Archie's case, you can't threaten to leave feedback or your testimony. So guys, what do you think? Have you had an experience similar to one of these cases? I'd like to hear about it. Comment down below. If you enjoy this kind of video, if you enjoy the work that I put into this, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell so that you're notified the next time I make one of these videos. So guys, we're going to run into these people every so often. Thankfully, it doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, it just gives you another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great start to your week, and we will talk to you very soon.